Word games from Trudeau's Liberals. I'm Brian Lilly with TheRebel.media. Do Liberals speak English anymore? I'm serious here. They keep trying to change the language around what's going on, whether we're talking about war, money, climate change, you name it. The Liberals keep using language in a way that actually reminds me of one of my favorite lines from one of my favorite movies.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Trudeau's Liberals don't give plain meaning to their own words. They invent, they distort, they use words to change the conversation, specifically the meaning of the conversation. Let me give you the latest example. Trudeau's finance minister, Bill Morneau, he's giving an interview to Bloomberg Television about government spending. He's asked about government spending and denies that it's actually spending.
Is it safe to say, based looking at this budget, that you and your government believe that spending is the only way to kickstart an economy like Canada's at this point?
Well, let me step back and say, first of all, we don't call it spending. What we're doing is we're making investments in the future of our country.
Excuse me, we don't call it spending? Actually, we all do, including you, Mr. Morneau, or at least your department does, and so does your budget. Right here, page 48 of the budget. They show a line in this chart for program expenses when talking about total government spending. What does the word expenses mean? Well, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it pretty much means spending. Right? Let's take a look at a couple of the dictionary definitions of this word so we know what we're talking about. Expenses, the amount of money that's needed to pay for or buy something. An amount of money that must be spent, especially regularly, to pay for something. And finally, something on which money is spent. Funny that. Funny also that the word spending actually shows up in Morneau's budget plan 36 different times. Sometimes that word is used to talk about consumer spending or business spending, but well, then you find lines like this on page 26 of the budget. Where new spending is introduced, it will be focused on boosting Canada's long-term growth potential while preserving our low debt advantage. Then on page 49, we see this chart measuring the impact of, quote, other spending measures. On the same page, it says this. This analysis was performed using the department's detailed macroeconomic model that estimates the contributions of government spending or tax policy to economic activity. Government spending. Again, throughout the budget, the word is used. Morneau's budget talks about new spending, about accelerating spending, about infrastructure spending. So when he says this,
First of all, we don't call it spending. What we're doing is we're making investments in the future of our country.
well, the kindest thing that I can think of is he's full of crap. Crappity crap. He's trying to pull the wool over your eyes. He's trying to put a political spin on this because he knows the Canadian government, on his watch, is now spending a lot more money than it used to, a lot faster than was planned. His spending plan is not investment. Doesn't matter what he calls it. It's not investment. That's political window dressing to make you forget that he's spending money he doesn't have, adding to the debt and leaving future generations to pick up the bill. Is it too much to ask for an honest conversation here? Now, speaking of honest conversations, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has been having strange conversations with many people trying to explain why Canada is not at war with ISIS. He first made comments to that effect during a CBC radio interview, but he keeps making them. John Moore with News Talk 1010 in Toronto was pressing Trudeau, asking, are you essentially splitting hairs? Why not just call the fight against ISIS a war?
Let's not pretend they're a state. Let's not pretend they're some army with flags that are going to be able to conquer territory and win a war. This is not a war they can win. This is not a war they want to win.
ISIS is not a state. Well, that's what Trudeau says. Look, ISIS may not receive international recognition, but again, let's look at what words actually mean. Dictionary definition of state. Well, there are many, but they include this. A politically organized body of people usually occupying a definite territory. Is ISIS politically organized? You betcha. Do they occupy territory? Unfortunately, yes. This is why there is a massive international coalition bombing them and aiding Iraqi ground troops to push them back. Trudeau goes on to say, let's not pretend that they have flags and they can conquer territory. Well, again, they have territory, and as they showcase in all their propaganda material, they have flags He says, let's not pretend they can win a war. Well, until the coalition came onto the scene, they were winning the war. They were within striking distance of Baghdad. They'd already taken Mosul, Palmyra, Ramadi. The only one pretending here is Justin Trudeau when he pretends we are not involved in a war with ISIS. Language matters. Words matter. Words have meanings, specific meanings. And that meaning isn't just whatever you decide it is that particular day. Trudeau's Liberals are lying to Canadians, and we can't let them get away with it. We need to call them out on it. Too bad most of the media will simply let this slide.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of The Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.